That ought to be some extravagant news. Yeah, exactly. One Friday, my child mother came to me. She started to tell me about all the things she see. But life's a police, so it's not a robbery. I couldn't believe what she reporting to me. What she asked me? Who is Shania? Who is Aliyah? Who is Kisha? Who is Tisha? Who is Batch? But wait now, who is Kim?
Hi folks, good evening, and thank you to everybody for joining me. I already have my guest in studio waiting to start the interview. So there are a range of things I want to be able to do this evening. One, I want to be able to interview the director of the PCA, and of course I want to do a roundup of the news for the week. So we're going to get into the news roundup after we've done the interview with PCA Director David West. So thanks for joining me, and let me organize to bring him on screen as soon as possible. Okay, so we have him. Hi David, good evening, and thank you so much for joining me. No, let me fix something here.
Sure. Good evening, Rhoda.
Okay, so there was a little bit of slowness on one side.
You hear me now? Is it better?
No, I'm hearing you fine. It's not that I'm not hearing you. I think that there is a bit of a delay, and it's not necessarily it may not necessarily be on your end. I don't know if there's a situation with my data glitching a bit, but I'm hearing you and I'm seeing you fine. So thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for agreeing to give us this interview.
Sure.
All right, let me jump straight into it. Director West, one of the major challenges facing us right now in Trinidad and Tobago, as I've observed while I was on hiatus and having come back, is a serious degree of no confidence, lack of confidence, unconfidence, if I can coin a word, in the TTPS. We're either laughing at the police service or we're not trusting the police service. And your body is the only oversight body, like independent oversight body in the country. And I was wondering, how do you see, or what do you see as your role in assisting with boosting confidence in the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service?
Rhoda, good evening. Well, Rhoda, I know cricket is in the air with CPL T20.
Yes.
And you obviously bowled me a bouncer or googly.
I didn't realize that you were into cricket as well. And I know you're into football. I didn't realize that you were into cricket.
Of course, any sport.
Okay.
Yeah, sport also. Any sport. All right, so Rhoda, that's a very good question. And, I think the PCA, let me just get it out there, that we are an independent body, a civilian oversight body for the police service.
Mm-hmm.
And what we do, as part of our remit, we also issue advice to the TTPS, okay? And I think that one of the pieces of advice that we have issued was regarding to the body-worn cameras. And I think if the police service, and I believe that they are taking up that piece of advice now, hearing overtures from both Mr. Junior Benjamin, the Deputy Commissioner of Police, and the Minister Hines, the National Minister of National Security, that they have purchased additional body cameras for the police to use. So I think that the police will be wearing body cameras. I hope that they will be wearing body cameras when they go out to execute search warrants, when they go to, on duty, when they go on patrol. So if anything happens untoward while that is taking place, that will be captured on the body camera footage. And why that's important, because it shows the public that the police are not afraid to use the body camera to show that whatever interactions they're having are above board and within the law. That is very important, okay? Because many times people feel that the police are not doing things above board, That is why they don't want to use the body camera.
But
I
David,
am on the view.
we've been having this body camera conversation for quite a number of years. And there have been, I think, for me at any rate, very vague reasons being given for why the police don't want to wear body cameras. What's the reason that you're aware of that police officers are not wearing body cameras?
I mean, I don't know what the reason is why they're not wearing them. Sometimes they say the battery doesn't last length of time as a patrol, and sometimes I think they said that they were cumbersome. But Rhoda, with this sustained campaign that we have launched for the TTPS to wear body cameras, and by the government purchasing body cameras, and by the deputy commissioner admitting that they have not been using the body-worn cameras. Okay, I am of the view that they will use the body-worn cameras once they've gone through the adequate training, and that will become standard use as part of their uniform. There is already the departmental order 93 of 2017 out there, so there's nothing more for them to do in that respect. So I want to give the police service the benefit of their doubt that they will, when it comes to issuing warrants in the future, when the task force goes on patrol, that they will be using the body camera, because it assists them. It shows the public that they're not afraid to use the body camera, and it protects the police officer. Most importantly, it protects the police officer against wrong statements that can be made against them. It also improves the investigation technique. There are loads of advantages of using the body-worn camera footage. We have seen this again and again up in the US and in India and in England, how the body-worn camera footage can assist them. So there's no reason why they should not be using the body-worn camera footage when they get those new cameras.
I'm not convinced that they're going to wear the cameras. I'm also not convinced that they're going to be wearing the cameras when they conduct particular types of exercises, especially the ones that end up being extremely sensitive. So, I mean, I might be putting you on the spot here a bit. What has you feeling so convinced?
Because there's a sustained campaign now by the not only the PCA but also by the judges. If you notice recently, Justice C. Prasad issued a statement saying that in the Newsday, it was in the Newsday, I have it here, on the September the 4th, where he said that, and I quote the Newsday, he referred to the chorus of calls for police to wear body cameras. C. Prasad said these would protect the police. He also said officers could not feel threatened by people recording them, since almost everyone had a cell phone. So that goes on to the article. But what happened is that he is of the view also that body cameras will assist the police service. So I think now I'm willing to give the police service the benefit of their doubt. At the outreach on the 17th of September, on Tuesday, in City Hall, Minister Hines has agreed to attend. So with him there, and again stressing the body cameras, and at that outreach we're going to show how useful the body camera footage can be. I have no doubt that he will stress upon the commissioner that her officers should be using the body-worn camera.
Well, there's already one question Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say there's already one question from a member of the audience. They're asking what will happen to the police if they do not wear the body cameras. Will disciplinary action be taken?
Right. So it would be a disciplinary offense because it's in a departmental order. All right. Or not only that, but we are also in our request. So let's say something happens, officers go out on patrol and a complaint is made. In our request, we will ask for whether or not body-worn camera footage was used, and we will get an answer, yes or no. If no, why not? If yes, let's.
Recently, there was a story online, a video footage shared online.
And we have in our act the power to get the footage.
Okay.
You there?
Yes, I'm here. I think there's some sort of...
Yeah, you said recently.
Right, I was saying that recently there was footage shared online by somebody who was being arrested by the police officer.
Correct, yes.
By police officers.
I saw that.
You saw it, right? Where the woman was filming And
about
the police,
camouflage rag.
right, and she had the camouflage bandana, and the police officers were giving her a lot of stress about filming them. So again, isn't it legal to film police officers while they're conducting their duties?
It is very, once you are not obstructing them from doing their duty.
Okay.
Sorry, you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you now. I mean, there's a little bit of a delay, but I'm hearing you. So, in the case of that video, are you of the opinion that the lady in the video, the one with the bandana, was she obstructing the police officers?
Well, I don't know if she was the one filming, so I can't say.
No, she wasn't. I don't think she was filming.
obstructing.
I'm not sure that she was filming, but she was the one with the bandana.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know who was filming and how close they were to the
Okay.
to
Fair
the police.
enough.
So I don't want to give a I don't want to give a definite answer, yes or no.
Okay, fair enough. Now, you mentioned that something is happening on the 17th. Can you elaborate a bit on that? What exactly is happening on the 17th of September?
Right. So we are having our outreach at the Port of Spain City Hall on the 17th of September from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, where we will be going through the Act, what the PCA does, what the PCA cannot do, and we will also be introducing the PCA has purchased its own body-worn cameras, and we will show the public what the cameras can do. Okay? And so that is very important. And we will also give a demonstration of the use of the camera. So we want the public to come out, and it will be a conversation between the public and myself and the deputy director on what we can and cannot do, how a complaint is made, how long it takes, all the issues, all the nagging issues that people ask.
Well,
What we can and cannot do.
Can we get a
And
little
let me just say
preview
that we cannot
of that town
arrest-
hall? Can we get a preview of that town hall here? I'm going to put you on the spot, David.
Well, it'll be on our Facebook page. So we're on Carry Live on our Facebook page. So
Fair
you
enough.
could join in.
I'll look on and I will join as best as I can. But for the purpose of the audience here right now, tell me, what are the things the PCA can't do?
Right. We cannot arrest anybody. We cannot prosecute any matters. All right. What else we can't do? We cannot hold live ammunition. So if we go to a scene, we cannot take possession of a firearm that's allegedly been used in the shooting, or any ammunition. So we have no coercive powers like what the TTPS has. Okay, we are a civilian-based oversight. So basically, Rhoda, what we are, Rhoda, is we are just one part of a relay in the criminal justice system. So a complaint is made to us, we investigate it thoroughly, independently, and if we find a finding, we make a referral to the Commissioner of Police if it's a disciplinary offense, or if it's a criminal offense, we make a referral to the Director of Public Prosecutions.
So would you say you're the first leg or the second leg in the relay?
Well, after the complaint, we the second leg, and then we give it on to the Commissioner of Police or the DP. Yeah.
Okay. Now, in going through some of the reports on your website this week, as I was getting prepared for this, I was noticing that your vision or mission, it might be one or the other, for the PCA is to become a world-class police oversight organization. And I wondered, what do you see are the challenges that you face right now, either within the PCA or external to the PCA, that prevents you from becoming that world-class oversight organization?
Right. So our mission statement is to be a world-class organization. And by that, we mean we want to be the best of the best. We really want to be the best organization that we can be. And we want to build that way in terms of technology. For example, we have the app where you can make the complaint. We have the email system, the website. We have body-worn cameras for the use in our investigations. I think we're the first civilian oversight body to wear body cameras. We also have recording devices, all right, where we can go out on the field and make recorded statements from persons. Okay, and we can also bring it back here and then transcribe them. So in technology-wise, we want to be the best. Communication, we want to be the best in communication. For example, our outreach, we want to show the public, that we are reachable. You can talk to us. We're not, I have my phone on me 24/7. So anybody who calls me answers. I answer the phone. I don't not take any calls. All right, because I want to be able to communicate. If I can't help you, I could try to get somebody else who can help that person. All right. So there's a lot of things. So we want to be world class. We want to be efficient. We want to let the public know that they can rely on us. So if they have a complaint or there's a problem, they can come to us and we can solve the problem together. All right. And if we can't solve the problem, we can get somebody else who knows how.
Do you have challenges with resources, with legislation? I mean, are there any things that might be preventing what you set out as your vision?
Well, witnesses sometimes, of course, get afraid, okay, because they think they're going up against the TTPS, and that if they divulge their evidence, something untoward can happen to them, which is a fair comment, because right now we are not part of the witness protection program system. Okay, so we cannot protect anybody. We have to refer that to the DPP for him to ask the witness protection program to take them. All right. Sometimes third parties, for example, and I don't mean to keep on talking about the Forensic Science Center, but postmortem reports take too long. There's over a lot of murders taking place, and the pathologists have to examine it, do the examination, and write a report, which takes a long time.
How long
Sometimes
on
it takes
average
more than 6 months to write a report.
Okay.
6 months or more. 6 months or more.
To do a forensic report on a dead body.
To write a report.
Right.
Report, yeah. Yes. I think there are 2 pathologists. I believe that they're trying to get more pathologists to come on board.
I thought by now that we were up to
The
about
health
4
centers.
pathologists. I didn't realize that we were still down to 2 pathologists.
Yeah. Health centers sometimes take a long time to give us the report. Okay, so basically third parties take a long time to issue reports. Sometimes when we ask for CCTV footage from both public and private institutions, that takes a while. Okay,
But
so
you are essentially investigating police wrongdoing, yeah?
correct.
So it means that if somebody has died at the hands of the police, you are at times waiting for forensic reports that go 6 months or more to be written. What
Yes.
then does that mean for your throughput at the PCA?
Well, forget, we have a lot of work still to do. It's not like we are not doing anything. We have a lot of work going on, and we try to make requests for the postmortem report as soon as possible. But many times it just takes a long time to come forward.
I have another question from the audience. Edithan is asking, is it mandatory for complainants to get a feedback on complaints made, and why a certain politician's family think they can do persons what they... Okay, all right, so let's go with the first part of the question, because I don't think the second part of the question really is something you can answer. Is it mandatory for complainants to get a feedback on complaints made?
It is, yes. We have a policy that once a complainant comes into the office and makes a complaint, within 7 days, they should hear feedback from the PCA, where they're given a letter stating whether or not the complaint is within remit or is not within remit. And they also get the investigator's number to call. But I hope our investigators call that person before they call them. But the fact is, we do have a policy where within 7 days, you do get feedback.
Okay, all right. Am I allowed to ask how many investigators you have handling the work at the PCA? And I ask this because the next question I want to ask is, how exactly are you managing to have oversight of, it's one organization, such a large space. Trinidad and Tobago has several policing divisions. Tobago is its own policing division. So am I allowed to ask what size staff you have?
Yeah, we have about 26 investigators in the PCA, and they're divided into 4 or 5 teams, all right, with attorneys attached to them. So we have a case management system which helps us to manage with all the work we have coming in. And the deputy and I meet with our different teams. Well, it varies between herself and myself, but every 3 months I meet with my team to go through the cases and see where they reached, what are the difficulties, what's the kickback, can I assist in any way.
So how do you divvy the work up? Because in looking at the map today, I realized East Division, for instance, spans from Toko all the way down to Guayari. And while I understand that, yes, there is a significant amount of vegetation and, swamp and stuff in between there, it's from Toko to Guaya is still, it's a large area. So how do you go about divvying up the workload?
Well, what happens is that we have every quarter, we have 6 teams. And every quarter, a team gets all the cases for that quarter, right? So what happens is once a team gets all the cases, that allows the other teams to work on their cases that they had previously, and they work along with the attorneys at law to help them, and work with us sometimes if they need us. So that's how it works. So, and fatal shootings, that is handled by that's on a rotational basis. For each team gets a fatal shooting. So it's not every quarter. A fatal shooting is allocated to the team lead once a fatal shooting happens.
Now, in looking at the report, I realize that it's a range of misconduct from the police that you'll look at. Because there are killings, there's also domestic violence, there's gun crimes, there's banditry, arson. I didn't realize that it was such a wide range of issues that you're looking
Larceny.
at. Larceny, I saw that as well. So I didn't realize.
Yeah, we look at
that. I didn't realize the police was involved in all of that wrongdoing. Seriously, I did not
every
realize.
Criminal offense. Yeah. So every criminal offense that they have on the law books, we look at in terms of the police officers. We look at misbehavior in public office, money laundering, tax evasion, all of that, that comes within it. And under the Police Service Act, the regulations, Section 150 outlines the disciplinary offenses that we look into. So from all those disciplinary offenses, we can look into them also.
Okay, I've got another question here. Dr. DCA is asking, how much does the police trust the PCA when investigating police behavior, and are the police cooperative? So how cooperative has the TTPS been when you have to investigate them?
That's a good question, and thanks for that. When I first joined the PCA in 2014, cooperation was not as forthcoming as it is now. Okay, we've established MOUs, and we've also established links within the TTPS. So they understand now what we're doing and what we can get from the legislation, because by law they are a public body, and whatever we ask for we can get, and there are sanctions attached to it if we don't get it. So the police do cooperate with us. I wouldn't say all the time. I mean, everything is, but there are times where there are issues arise. But I think both myself and the deputy director and the senior officers in the executive are mature enough now to have a discussion about what they think and what we think, and we work it out and we work through it. So there is that level of trust, and that there's a level of between the two organizations that we have built up over the years.
Okay, I've got another question. I already know the answer to it, but I'm going to give you the opportunity as the director of the PCA to give a more fulsome response. 29 Super C is asking, has the PCA completed their investigation of Balkan and Morris, who was killed in police custody in 2021? And if so, what was their recommendation? And, can you indicate what the recommendation was?
Well, it is completed, and we did make a recommendation, and the recommendation was to the Director of Public Prosecutions. I don't want to go further than that, but we did make a recommendation for that criminal offences may or may not have taken place.
Mm-hmm. I remember. I saw the press release. The press release called for action from the DPP because you pointed out that based on your investigations, what the PCA had determined was that there was torture involved in the deaths of the men.
Yes, and that came from Rhoda, the pathologist report.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that was independent evidence coming from an independent person about what he saw on the bodies.
Yeah. And that shows you just how important pathological reports are, especially for investigations such as yours. Let me see if there are any further questions. Okay. So Joanna Thomas is saying that she's waiting on her response from the PCA since December, and she called and someone stated they will respond. So she did get a response in a sense. Okay. So that's it for questions from the audience for now. But David, I wanted to get into at least one more question for you before I know you have to run off and go and do other things, because I did promise you I would only keep you for 30 minutes and it's now almost 27 minutes. Based on the stuff that I was looking at online on your website, and I have to say congratulations on the website. It's very easy to navigate and there's a wealth of information. I saw that there was a report on domestic violence amongst police officers and their spouses or intimate partners. I didn't realize that you all were also covering that particular activity.
Yes, we do, because it's a criminal offense also.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, there has been an increase in recent years of domestic violence or of police officers, behavior towards their spouses, their girlfriends, other women.
Mm-hmm.
It is pretty sad. I think there is help for police officers to go to for the TTPS. I don't know how useful or if they're using it that often, but I can tell you our deputy director has championed this cause. She has done all the research. What you saw on the website is her work.
Mm-hmm.
And I could tell you that she is coming out with a volume 2, if you wanted, or updated information on that website, especially of the case of Todd Lampkin, who was unfortunately died because of domestic violence.
Yes, her daughter died as a result of domestic violence.
By police inaction. Mm-hmm. The judge was scathing towards the police inaction on that matter. And she won the constitutional motion and will be awarded damages. I don't know how much damages she'll be awarded, but she will be awarded damages. I don't think the state has appealed, because really the state couldn't appeal. It was so bad that what happened to her. It's sad and unfortunate that in this day and age, that can happen to somebody who has gone to the police station over and over, made reports, and they have done nothing about it.
What struck me about that particular report, and I know that you've just said that it's your deputy director doing work in that area, so I'm happy to wait for the report at the end of September and perhaps invite her to do a more in-depth discussion about the domestic violence findings. But in the report, there were a number of victims who were afraid to take things further. So they would have come to you, they would have made a report, you would have started your investigation. Now I'm sure the other areas of criminal activity have similar responses. So how do you, as an entity that is trying to maintain oversight of the TTPS, get people who are afraid to do more than just do a written report, an oral report? How do you get them to get this thing, into the sphere of a full-blown investigation?
Yes, that is very difficult. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of persuasion. We aren't really trained for that, but I must say kudos to our investigators who persuade the victims or the witnesses to come forward and give a statement. We can give them as much support as we can give them, but at the end of the day, it's up to them, and we tap into their goodwill and good nature that something will happen, something will come out of it, and we implore them to go ahead and make the report, and we will investigate the matter. And if it is that a referral will be made or could be made, we do make the referral.
Okay. Does mental well-being issues come into play at all? I mean, if you in the course of your investigation realize that there is something else or something more that has to happen, something restorative per se, does the PCA have oversight into making recommendations of that nature?
Well, what we do is we will call in that body that the person needs assistance with, and we will we'll hand them over to that body. So because they're the experts in the matter. We're not the experts in that. All right?
Okay.
And we're not going to pretend to be experts in something that we're not. So we will identify an area that they need, and we will then call the person or hand them over to that person, making sure that they go and that there's a follow-up.
Let's say I came to you.
I'll be worried.
I know you'd be panicked. But let's say I came to you and I said, I'm having interactions with a member of the police service, and the person is exhibiting aggressive, behavior towards me, one, but I also suspect that the aggressive behavior might be as a result of narcissistic personality disorder. That's, just as a hypothetical. How does the PCA delve into something like that? Because the criminal part of it should be cut and dried. I'd be able to bring evidence and say this is the aggressive, abusive, physically abusive behavior. But the other part of it, like, how do you get specialists involved when it comes to things like that?
Well, what we'll have to do is we'll have to have the statement, and we'll have to identify what issues are involved with the police officer, and then we'll have to call the different bodies that deal with those types of issues, and we would call them in, and they would come in and they would meet with the person, and they would be taken care of.
Okay. What's your relationship like currently with the sitting Commissioner of Police?
I think good, and I can tell you, and I don't want to take away all the kudos from the Deputy Director, but again, in a matter involving a domestic violence matter, she had to deal directly with the Commissioner of Police because it was a serious matter that we saw unfolding, and she was able to call it the Commissioner of Police. Commissioner of Police then did what we asked her to do, okay, and then said, okay, she will await our report at the end of the week or the month, whatever it is. But the point is that the Commissioner of Police was on her say-so or her evidence that she had before her so far, the Commissioner of Police was able to act because she understood how serious the matter could turn out to be. So I would say we have a good relationship with the Commissioner of Police.
Okay. Now, you say on Tuesday you're having a town hall meeting and you're going to be having a conversation with the public, especially about body cameras. Are you going to be, tell me what you're going to be doing with the body cameras on Tuesday?
Sure, well, we're going to have the body cameras that we have on display so the public can see. And we're going to have it on our investigators so they can see that it is not a huge, cumbersome device. It can be easily worn and used. We'll also identify or show how to use the body camera. And we've also done a video of the body camera going into an area, and it shows the lens, the wide angle lens. It shows the volume. You hear feedback, so it shows what the body camera can do. So when the police go out there, it shows exactly what they're going to do and what they are, if anything is untoward, we will see it. Or if it is that the person had a firearm and they shot first, we will also see that first. And that also will cut down on the investigation's time. That will also cut down on the time the officer is, let's say, put behind the desk while the investigation is going on. So it speeds up everything investigation-wise for the police officer and for us, and it reduces our workload, and it reduces the police workload because the police also investigate from the PSB's point of view. Mm-hmm. So it's a win-win situation for everybody.
What's the relationship been like between you and the Police Standards Bureau, the PSB? Have you all had a good working relationship with each other, or is it that you all function in silos? No. We work together. If I need something, I ask for it. If they need something, they ask for it. We're working on a matter right now. So we work well with the units of the TTPS. It's only some small percentage of officers that try to give pushback. Mm-hmm. Okay. There's one more question from the audience. No, don't call names. I want to be able to bring you back on News Source. I don't want a situation where I'm hearing that David West is no longer around as a PCA director. So Lenley's Winchester is asking, let me put the question up so everyone can see it. What percentage of PCA investigations resulted in successful prosecutions of TTPS officers? I don't know if you have that figure off the top of your head, or if you have data or response to that question.
And again, I'm glad this question is useful, mm-hmm. because it shows that the person is not quite sure what we do in terms of, as I said, we make a referral to the commission, to the DPP once we think a criminal offense has been taken place. The DPP then runs with that matter. So we don't know when the matter goes to court unless we are follow the matter and we're told it is going to court. Mm-hmm. But it takes so long to get to court that we lose track of the matter. All right.
So one of the things that I've noticed, because I'm going to agree with you, I know that there are a number of recommendations that you've made over the years. I've paid attention to when the press releases come out. You make recommendations. You say this is something that needs the attention of the DPP, and then we wait on the DPP to do something. And there are a number of times files have gone, not just from the PCA, from other entities, gotten to the office of the DPP, and then nothing happens to it. But what I have noticed is that in other legislative matters and other judicial matters, PCA reports become very important. Because in my matter, because I have about 6 or 7 matters before the court. But in one of my matters, when it got before the court, the PCA report was very important, very crucial in how the judge would have assessed the issue. So I don't know if you've been experiencing that with other things, with other cases that have gotten into the court system. Yeah,
especially for civil matters, on constitutional matters, mm-hmm. when the victims or the victim's family sue the state, for example, in the Todd Lampkin matter. We follow that because we get the press releases, or we follow it because we know it's in court, because they ask for the investigative file from the PCA. And what we do is we alert the Attorney General, and we also alert the person wanting the file, mm-hmm. that yes, we're going to give them the file because in the best interest of the public, we have the information and we're not going to keep it hidden. We're going to give it to the respective parties, and we give both parties the report.
So if I need the Morris and Belcon file, I can write to the PCA for it?
Well, on how are you linked to that matter?
Because it's part of a defamation matter, it's part of a civil matter, sir.
Well, I think we'll have to look at that, but generally speaking,
I'll write formally. I'll write formally. If it comes to it, or rather, I'll have my attorneys write formally if it comes to it. Okay?
If it comes to it, yes.
Yes, and that way you can make a decision, because I'm not going to put you on this spot here. So, David, I'm going to wrap up the interview now. There's one last, it's not a question so much as it's a comment. So I'm just going to put the comment up there. Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to the town
Sure.
hall on Tuesday. Once I can take it in on Facebook, I will take it in on Facebook. And I'll make contact with you soon to have a follow-up interview.
Sure, definitely.
All right. Thank you so
very
much. David West, the Director of the Police Complaints Authority. Have a good evening. Bye.
You too.
Okay, folks. So that was Director David West. I have been struggling all evening long to fix my name on this thing. For whatever reason, I'm not in a position to make it larger. I don't know why, but say what. So that was PCA Director David West. And I'm thanking him again for the interview. So now I want to get into the extravagant news. All of the extravagant news for the week. So where am I going to start? I'm starting with some sober news first. This week, the court case that is centered around the Paria diving tragedy would have eventually issued charges to 3 entities. Is it 3 entities? The chairman of the Paria board, so Mr. Mushtaq Mohammed, Mr. Colin Piper, and Paria itself got charges, right? So they would have gotten, I think, 3 charges each. And also LMCS, the dive company, and the director, the owner, managing director of the dive company, Mr. Kazim Ali Sr., he would have also gotten charges. So I think it was 4 charges each for people from Paria and 3 charges each for Mr. Kazim Ali and LMCS. We continue to keep an eye on that particular story, and as there is news on it, I will be putting the news out there for you all so that we keep track of what is taking place where the Paria inquiry is concerned. So that's that. Then I'm sure all of you have been paying attention to the US elections. This week gone, Tuesday, there would have been oh my goodness, why is my brain frying all of a sudden? There would have been the presidential debate. Tuesday evening there was the debate, and Kamala Harris mashed up Trump. Plain and simple. Trump's campaign tried as much as possible in the aftermath of the interview to insist that Trump had won the debate. But I mean, anybody who was looking at it would have been clear that he hadn't won the debate. From the outset, Kamala Harris would have been the person to step forward, force him to shake her hands. She kept steady eye contact with him throughout the debate. He couldn't even look at her. He just kept staring at the cameras and looking very angry all the time. And then, in the middle of the debate, Kamala Harris would have dealt a jab at Trump about crowd size and his audience, and him being a boring speaker at his rallies. And that seemed to throw him into a total tailspin, to the point where he started basically screaming at the camera when he responded to Kamala, saying people in Springfield, Ohio are eating the dogs, eating the cats, and eating the pets. Which had, I mean, I can't begin to explain it. And there were these memes circulating all over social media from his people. So it's a case of Republicans having created those memes. And the entire outburst and all of the subsequent doubling down on the outburst have been extremely racist, extremely anti-immigrant, and of course has caused a lot of problems in Springfield, Ohio, for the Haitian community there. Now, Trump and his VP, his running mate, J.D. Vance, have been spreading these lies, spreading these rumors about the Haitian community. And the majority of the Haitian community in Springfield, Ohio, are there legally. They're not illegal immigrants. And nobody thus far has been able to corroborate or find evidence to back up this story circulating, this rumor about Haitian immigrants eating pets of the other residents. And it has led to hospitals getting bomb scares, schools getting bomb scares, a number of state and private sector entities having to shut down because of violent behavior and violent actions in Springfield, Ohio. As a matter of fact, one of the last reports I heard was that members of a group that refer to themselves as the Proud Boys have been roaming around the streets of Springfield, causing a lot of chaos, a lot of mayhem, to the point where Haitian residents, or immigrant Haitian residents from Springfield, Ohio, have had to pretty much hide themselves in their homes, keep their children home from school, stay at home to avoid attacks, race-based attacks from residents, which is a scary thing. Because this is the United States that promotes itself as being a free space, a fair space, a space where immigrants can come and realize the American dream. And it seems that for these Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, the American dream has become an American nightmare. So that's what's going on with the US elections right now. The elections have quickly taken on a very sinister undertone. So I think we need to continue paying attention, because of course a lot of what happens in their elections tends to replicate itself in our elections, because we have politicians here who are very happy to perpetuate certain behaviors and certain ideologies. So let's continue to keep an eye on that. Then you had this particular story. Rudal Munilal, for some reason, assumes that all black men look alike. Because Rudal Munilal did an entire live presentation wherein he kept referring to somebody called Karen Rose and Trillions, and a company called Trillions. And then the pictures that he showed was of an entirely different person with the same name. And the weird thing is, the spelling of the name was different. And then afterwards, he kind of backed off and then doubled down on who Karen Rose is and whether it was the right person or not the right person. And I was like, are you trying to get somebody in trouble who have absolutely nothing to do with the issue that you raised on a public platform? Because if you have it wrong, you have it wrong. Come out, apologize to the person, and indicate this is who I was referring to, as opposed to doubling down on having the wrong picture, the wrong name, and the wrong accusations against the person. And you see, that for me, that foolishness that Munilal did, that for me is an example of how dangerous our politics can become. Right, so that's Munilal. Now there's more bacchanal going on in the UNC. Apparently, Dr. Rai Ragbir, I think he is the Kumoto Manzanilla MP. Rai Ragbir had to come out. I mean, he's a backbencher now because he has spoken out against Kamla Persad-Bissess on occasion. He had to come out and rebuke Kamla for saying these foolish things that she's been saying about vaccines and fake vaccines, and she not in support of fake vaccines, etc., etc. And it's almost like Kamla don't check nothing. Kamla don't have anybody doing background research for her, nothing. Because this is Kamla back in, 2021, promoting and urging people to take the vaccines. Now, for a very long time during the pandemic, she wasn't taking the vaccine. she was telling everybody that sunlight is what was going to cure COVID. And then when people from her constituency base began to die and contract COVID-19 in extremely high numbers, and after she got pressure internally from her other MPs, she came out, she endorsed the vaccine, and she even went and got her shot here. And it was made public when she got her shot. So back in 2021, she endorsed the vaccine. She endorsed the vaccine again in 2021 several times. She endorsed the vaccine again in 2023, urging parents and guardians to take their children for the Pfizer vaccine. So if you're busy endorsing the vaccine in 2021, 2022, 2023 come forward, what happened in 2024? Where the fake vaccine talk come from? Where the anti-science conversation coming from? And why are you so divisive? And why are you constantly creating mischief with issues that don't require mischief? Why? The question for me would be, how is this helping your credibility? How? How it helping you gain more votes? How it helping to keep you in office? Because I am at the point where Kamala, as opposed to Kamala, Kamala's behavior is so erratic. I'm not even understanding what her end goal is. Which is why this particular story from Dinesh Rambali had me in stitches. Let me not say it's a story, it's a letter. So Dinesh writes this very long letter, and he says he's talking about the UNC, and he's talking about how the UNC needs to do like Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in the Democrat Party. And what struck me as ironic is that Dinesh did not seem to realize that the party that he is a part of, because I was glad to see a member of the UNC holding Kamala to account, right? And basically pointing out that, your failure as a leader, you're not really inspiring your membership. But what he seems to not want to acknowledge publicly is that his political party is the political party that more often than not seems to be perpetuating, imitating the same behavior as Republican America. So the UNC behaves like MAGA. They behave like the MAGA Republican arm of the party. And I don't know if you'll notice or not, in the United States, the non-MAGA part of the Republican Party has decided that it is coming out against Trump and voting against Trump in the general election. And I'm beginning to think, given the control that Kamala Persad-Bissessar seems to have on the UNC, and the UNC's inability to change her, to remove her from leadership, that what might end up happening is the UNC will continue to have some of its membership throw its weight behind the PNM, whether they want to or not, because they need to clear the decks of the UNC in such a way that will allow for the party to be able to rebuild itself. Because here's what, whether or not you like the United National Congress or you support the United National Congress, you can't continue to think that this is what the United National Congress should be. Regardless of your feelings about politics and about governance, we need to have strong political parties. The electorate needs to have viable options. And there is no way that Kamla Persad-Bissessar, or her version of the UNC, is currently being seen as a viable option. Because everywhere I go, whenever a political conversation starts up, people are consistently saying, okay, at least, so those who aren't, huge fans of the PNM, they're consistently saying, we ain't too keen or too fond of how the PNM is functioning or performing, but we can't see ourselves voting for the United National Congress. And the reason they're not voting for the United National Congress is because they don't see the UNC as an option. And so they've decided lesser of two evils, which is kind of like what is taking place in the United States right now with their elections. There are a number of people who see themselves as undecideds, or people who were staunch Republicans who've decided, you see what is going on with the Republicans? I can't deal with that, so I'm going to hold my nose and vote for the Democrats. And the people who are in the middle are like, I ain't sure I could vote for Trump, So even though the Democrat Party ain't necessarily reflecting all of my ideals, I'm going to vote for them instead. And I'm thinking that there is some of that is happening with the United National Congress, which of course means that there are a range of small parties that will be popping up left, right, and center. But I also don't think that the country is even remotely interested in third parties, even though people trying to generate interest in third parties. But I think it is sad that Dinesh Rambali is in a position where he's talking about a UNC. And he's talking about a UNC functioning more like the Democrat Party, when the UNC that he is a part of, actively a part of, the UNC that he ran as a candidate for in the 2020 elections, behaves just like MAGA. Because Dinesh has to remember, the party that he ran for in 2020 promoted a campaign that was very divisive and very racist. People don't forget those things. They don't forget the Trinity ads. They don't forget the blank man comments. They don't forget that the United National Congress was using Cambridge Analytica in 2010, 2015, and again using the tactics in 2020. So when you start complaining about the leadership of the party, you guys, the MPs, need to remember the things that you all were comfortable with during that time period. Because I see Rodney Charles come out and complaining and calling for a change in leadership. Rodney did not have a problem in 2010. Rodney did not have a problem in 2015 when he was doing spin the wheel around the country, which was a very racist game that they were going about playing to be able to drag down Dr. Rowley. The eat grass comments, I see somebody point it out. Thank you very much. The banana memes, thank you for pointing it out, right? The pictures of black people eating grass in the field. It is a whole range of things, right? The consistent equating black people with monkeys and, criminals, all kinds of things, all kinds of racist ideas. Nobody has forgotten those things. So when, Dinesh, you start talking about Kamla being a wicked stepmother, we're going to have to ask you and your brethren and sistren, MPs, right? The other MPs. Somebody pointed out the man who was dragging coffin, right? I forget his name, Victor something or the other. When you guys are supporting and participating in those behaviors and perpetuating that kind of activity that sits in the minds of the electorate, especially the electorate that supports the People's National Movement, how are you going to bring joy? Who are you bringing joy to? Who are you inspiring with this joy? Food for thought. Food for thought. Right. So of course, in light of the, I guess, failed policies of the United National Congress and the fact that the United National Congress has not been able to inspire people, you have the Patriotic Front. But again, who else is supporting Michaela? Who else is backing Michaela? And that's an important question, because recently I was having a conversation. Somebody was asking me, well, who are the various political parties? And I said, well, PNM, UNC. I said, the Congress of the People is dead. MSJ has no traction anymore. And I don't even know who else are the faces in the MSJ. Philip, nobody takes Philip seriously. Maybe a handful of people will vote for him, but seriously as a political leader, no. I don't think Gary is taken seriously as a political leader either. And I see that in the case of both Gary and Philip, they consistently check in to see whether or not they could align themselves with the UNC, because that's how our political system works. We have two bases here because of the tribal nature of our politics. You have the PNM base and you have the UNC base. And then all of the other splinter groups tend to, at least historically, align themselves with the UNC or whatever version of the UNC is around at that point in time. So of course, PEP, NTA, Hope, Dope, Pope, Lope, they all checking to see whether or not they can align themselves with the UNC. And then comes Patriotic Front. And what I'm not clear on at all is who exactly is Michaela Pandey's base. Is it the current UNC, the disaffected members of the UNC, the folks who are supporters of the UNC but don't really want to vote this version of the UNC and looking for something else? So I'm not clear just yet about who Michaela sees as her base, or how, rather, she's going about building capacity and support for her party. And then there's this story where she says they're ready to tackle crime if elected. And I thought, vote for we and we gonna set you free. Everywhere we go, somebody chanting to we. And no, it's not that I'm calling Michaela a madman, or not that I'm saying that Michaela is ranting. What I'm saying is, why not come to the country, explain your plan, and see whether or not that is going to build you a support base. Unless, of course, that's not your goal. But right now, I'm not seeing the Patriotic Front as an option either. And then you had some bacchanal. I think the Prime Minister is back in the country as of this evening. Today is what? Today's the 15th, so it might be as of tomorrow. Right, I think it's up until the 16th. Somebody said forget Cazelle Jackson party. So no, I don't forget Cazelle Jackson party at all. Because that's not even a blocko. That's not even a garden fete. That's not even a tea party. I don't know what Cazelle has, but it's not a political party. Cazelle have a billboard. That's about all Cazelle have. A billboard on the highway. I know nothing but no party. So, Minister Stuart Young, MP Stuart Young, has served as the acting Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago for 2 weeks. And now there's questions about whether he's the next man to lead the PNM and whether, yes, Beach is a concept of a plan. All you're wicked, because they'll have a concept of a plan. So, MP Young has functioned as the acting Prime Minister for 2 weeks. And, big story in the papers today, is he going to be, the next leader of the PNM? The PNM have an internals due in 2026. There are a range of things that could happen between now and then. For MP Young to be the next leader of the PNM, the current leader of the PNM had a step down. So what you'd have to be looking for is whether or not the current leader of the PNM is looking to step down. And I want to believe if the current leader of the PNM steps down, there might be a range of persons stepping up and putting themselves forward as possible political leaders of the party. So we will see. Right now, what I am seeing is that the Prime Minister, and I'm talking about Dr. Rowley, has decided that he is going to begin to look at other persons to act in the position of Prime Minister when he's not in the country. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's interesting to see how different people will fill the portfolio and handle things like cabinet meetings and other national problems when Prime Minister Rowley is out of the country. But there's a lot more that has to be discussed and has to be considered with respect to the next political leader of the PNM and, of course, the next Prime Minister of the country. Starboy is annoyed. He wants me to open up the door. And where are we now? So we come to with Blizzard. I didn't plan to treat with this story at all. Friday morning, I get up and I go about my business. And all day long, I'm seeing, well, all morning long, I'm seeing comments about Terrence. And I'm seeing people laughing and I'm seeing memes, all of it referencing Terrence. I wasn't paying attention because I was busy doing stuff. And then I saw PNM St. Joseph put up a post saying, I am not the Terrence that is being discussed. And of course, I eventually asked, who is Terrence? Went into my phone and realized that there were a whole bunch of videos circulating. And I took a look at the videos. Now, I'm not here to discuss the videos. Let me tell you what I'm here to discuss. Because based on what I've been told, that is Terrence and that is Terrence's wife in the video there, right? What I want to talk about is this. A letter that masquerading as a pre-action protocol letter was circulated this morning, or circulated today. And the letter is from Renee Amanda Budram Ramsrup. It's shared by her. And Renee Amanda Budram Ramsrup, who I understand is the wife of Terrence Ramsrup, has issued this letter to tell people stop sharing the video that has been circulating. How they get the video, Renee? How the public get their hands on this video? Because based on what I saw, you were filming from your phone. You filmed the entire thing from your phone. You were the person speaking and narrating events. So the public got this story from your video and from you. So this letter can't say that you are being defamed, because you're not being defamed, because it's you making the statements in the video. Nobody's making up stuff about you. For the video to get into anybody's hands, you had to share the video. And if people are sharing a video that got into their hands, how they get the video? Now, this raises questions about things like cyber laws and sharing of data, sharing of information. And I don't believe that we have any laws in the country right now that deal with this specific issue, which is a person having recorded an event, then sharing it to other people, and then whoever those persons are, sharing what is supposed to be a private video publicly. I don't know what law is broken there. But to share a cease and desist letter indicating that a minor is involved. How is a minor involved in the issue? A minor didn't shoot the video. A minor is not featured in the video. And that for me was, when I saw this, I found this was so interesting. A minor, shoot the video. A minor not depicted in the video. You reference children in the video. You reference your own child. You reference that somebody else is having a child. And that's an allegation. I have no idea how true it is. But all of the information that the public has came from you. It's your actions that have the video in the public domain. So how are you now telling the public to cease and desist? Cease and desist from what? That's all I want to know at this point in time. Anyhow, folks, it was nice. We go talk soon.
Thursday night.
Aye?
I know everything, Terrence.
B, what you talking
You
about?
have to know what I'm talking about.
Who tell you that?
You want to tell your father and them that you're pregnant?
I get catch in the act.
Well, yeah, go on.
Terror.